All right, I think we are live. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to our live show. Today, we're going to be talking about Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which is the big Bibliothon book club pick for, I think it was November through January, which is going to be very exciting. Just a couple of things to start off. We did put our announcement video talking about all of the winners for the video challenges up yesterday, so you can take a look on our channel there, and we will be contacting all of the winners. And just a reminder as well that our next Bibliothon book club pick is The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn, which is very exciting. Never really read anything like it, so it's not good.
Yeah,
I know. I didn't even notice they had different covers.
That's so strange. Oh, I like them both.
I like them as well. Okay,
wait,
so
can you show us yours again? Sorry, I didn't see it.
I don't know which one. I think
it's yellow.
I kind of like the yellow one.
I know that one.
Like cool. Oh, very cool. Yes, so I guess we're going to start talking about Renegades. We will begin with just like a little bit of an overview, so it's all spoiler-free in case any of you haven't read it. We will be going into spoilery discussion after that, and feel free to leave comments on the live chat here, or you can tweet us as well. Any questions or any topics that you want to talk about, go for it. And if there's not anything else I need to add, we'll begin with what we thought of it.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to just go on the line and do our star rating and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so I gave Renegades, I think, well, I only finished it like an hour ago, so I haven't fully processed everything. But I think it'd be about 4 stars for me. I listened to the audiobook, which was really fun. And it was just really cool. I don't know, just seeing, like, having the two perspectives with, like, a villain and a hero, and just seeing the different points of view from either of them and how it really blurred the lines between good and evil. I thought that was really cool, and it was just a lot of fun.
Okay, so I read it in print, and I rated it a 5 out of 5 stars, or 4.5, 5 out of 5 stars. Let's just go with 5. I really, really enjoyed this book. I was so pleasantly surprised. I am naturally just like a slow reader, and I found this such a quick read. Like, the action was just so addicting, and it was seamless to read through. I had so much fun reading this book, and it just went by so quick. And now I've finished all Marissa Meyer's books, and I think that she's really great at writing large casts of characters and action scenes, and I just had so much fun. So I'm really excited to talk about this book.
Yeah, right? Okay, that's okay. So it's been about 2 months since I read it, so it's a little bit, kind of fuzzy in my mind. But I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. It was like my first 5 stars of the year, I think. I read her other series, the Lunar Chronicles. I read the first 2 books. I did not like the second one, so I kind of went in this one with low hopes, and I really enjoyed it, especially for a superhero type of thing, which is usually not my thing. And I loved it so much. It was like during a week when I was really sick, and I forced myself to stay up and not rest while I was sick, so I could finish this book because it was so good. So I really, really loved it.
Renegades is my favorite book of the year. It's going to be my favorite book of the year, like one of my favorites. It's on my list of the year for favorites. I love it so much. I also listened to the audiobook, and I've listened to Rebecca Solar, who is the narrator for Nova, before. She's one of my favorite audiobook narrators, so I know it was going to be fabulous. And it was just so wonderful. Like, I don't think I have a bad word to say about it. It was just so fun and intriguing and thought-provoking, and there were so many interesting questions posed by the world and the characters, and the plot was amazing, and I just love everything about it. I'm dying for book 2.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh
my god.
Yeah. So I think I gave it a 5-star rating on Goodreads, and it's somewhere in between a 4.5 and a 5. Like, it was really good. I really liked it. I listened to it on audiobook too. I recognized the female narrator, but I didn't know who it was initially, and I was like, I had to look it up, and then I found out that she was the Heartless narrator, and that's the only reason that I liked that book. So I was really happy to be listening to her again. And then the male narrator. All of Marissa Meyer stuff? Oh.
Well, at
that
least
makes me
she's also the narrator of the Lunar Chronicles and Heartless, I believe.
Okay. That gives me hopes for the Cinder then, because maybe I'll have to pick that up on audio. I do have to say that the male voice, he's not the same narrator, but he sounds like the narrator from You by Carolyn Kepnes. For me, it sounded like him. And so it freaked me out for a good few chapters. So that was like a little bit weird. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought the action was really good and like well written, and I don't know. I liked it. That's really all I have to say.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So people are asking about their favorite characters and stuff like that.
Yes.
Do you think that's spoilery, or should we go into it?
Yeah, I think we're ready to jump into spoilers. I feel like there's not much else unless someone has like a specific question that they can think of for spoilers or non-spoilers.
I don't know. I mean, I guess like, what did you guys, for those of you who read the audiobook, how did you guys like the, either one, I guess, how did you guys like the dual perspective? Like,
I think
did you
it went
feel like
really
they
well
were
for the
separate
book.
enough?
I think I did, especially when you listen to like a male and a female narrator, like it makes it very distinct. But I mean, I think you can definitely tell a difference between their voices. You know what I mean? Like Adrian is like a soft little being to me, and Nova is like this like hardcore badass bitch, and I love her.
Yeah. Brittany, how did you feel about it reading it print? Like, could you tell easily who you were reading?
Oh yeah, I thought it was done.
Okay,
it was
good.
really well done. And I really knew it. Like Emma said, I found like Adrian was kind of. It's been a while since I read it too, so I'm just trying to kind of remember. But I remember Adrian just kind of being a little bit softer and kind, whereas what's her name? Nova was just really hard, and like you can really feel that. Am I the only one that read it in print, or Dylan, you did too?
I did too.
Okay.
How did you feel about it, Dylan? Do you agree, or?
I didn't really have a problem with it. Usually when books have more than one POV, I'm so confused the entire time. I actually like hate the reading experience. Actually, especially after the Veronica Roth Divergent.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh
no. I didn't really have a hard time differentiating because I have like the biggest crush on Adrian, which is weird because my ex-boyfriend's name is Adrian, so like it's kind of it's weird.
Oh no.
So they're completely like polar opposites, Adrian and Nova. So like I was able to tell the difference. It was not a problem at all for me.
Good. Yeah. I feel that same way about ex-boyfriend and names, Dylan, because when I read The Host, the love interest is named Ian, and Brittany's husband is named Ian. My ex-boyfriend's name is Ian, and I'm not a fan.
That's strange.
Except he spelled his name with an E, which was really weird.
Weird. That's how you know he's not a good guy.
That's so funny.
No disrespect if anyone's watching and your name is Ian with an E. Sorry.
It's like my feelings towards Kevin. Like, I hate the name Kevin, and I feel really bad. One time I was talking, this is totally off topic, I'm sorry. I was just hanging out with my family, like my family friends, and one of our neighbors who's in the group, his name is Kevin, and I was saying how much I hate the name Kevin, and they all thought I was being sarcastic, and I was like, oh, I really wasn't, sorry. But not towards him, like just towards other Kevin.
That's funny.
Oh, funny.
Are we ready to jump into spoilers?
I had a question before we...
go for it.
Because it's not going to spoil anything. Like, I'm curious, like, have any of you read other works of Marissa Meyer, or like, because I read all of Marissa Meyer now, or like, what have you read of her? And do you like her writing and her books in general, or do you just like, what are your thoughts on her as a
Well, I read everything except for things like Stars Above. I think, like, I've read the Lunar Chronicles, including Fairest, and then I read Heartless, and I've read this. And I do really like her writing style. A lot of the time I do like the characters, with the exception of Heartless. Wasn't a fan of that book. Yeah, so I think just in general, I do really like the writing style, and I like the worlds that she builds as well. And when there is a lot of action, okay, not Heartless.
Yeah, that's so funny because I love everything except for Heartless too.
Yeah.
And I just finished Stars Above last month too, so I was That's so interesting. Anyone else?
I've only read Heartless and Renegades, and I thought Heartless was okay. There were things that made me want to love it, and there were also things that I found really boring about it. I say that if you want to read Heartless, I say listen to the audiobook, because the narrator, which is also the Renegades narrator, is phenomenal. And she made me like the characters. Like, she made me intrigued. And so I liked the idea of the plot too, but I didn't always love the execution. So going into this, I was definitely nervous, but I really liked it. So
like, Heartless wasn't like a bad book. It wasn't very exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
It was definitely more of like a character study. Yeah. That's okay. Sorry, Dylan.
So I read Cinder and Scarlet. I may continue. I'm not for sure. I've had to reread the first two before I go on. That's all I've read from her. Cinder, I love Cinder so much. A lot of people say that's like their least favorite in the series, so maybe my opinion will change. But I loved Cinder. I like Cinder more. I don't know if I like Cinder or Renegades more, because I'm not an action person, and so Renegades is like packed with action. And it got too much sometimes. And Cinder doesn't have as much action. It has some, but like it's more like a character kind of thing. So I don't know which one I like more, but I do like her character.
It gets really actiony as you go on. It gets more and more action.
and I think that we're kind of similar as well, Dylan. Like, you didn't like Scarlet, did you?
No. I hated it.
I'm the same. I didn't like, Scarlet was my least favorite of the series. I still enjoyed it, but it was my least favorite, whereas a lot of people are like, oh, it's my favorite. But
that's my least favorite too. Cress was my favorite. And Scarlet was my least favorite. So keep going, Dylan. Emma, have you read her works or just her?
I read all 4 Lunar Chronicles and Heartless. I haven't read Stars Above, and I haven't read Wires and Nerve, but I did read Heartless. I love everything Marissa Meyer writes. I don't think I've ever been let down by any of her books. She's just like a really talented writer, and I love like how much effort is put into her books. Like, they always feel complete and fully developed, which I just love. I think she's so wonderful, and like, I will probably read almost anything she puts out because she's one of my favorites.
Me too. She's become an author for me, for sure.
Yeah, totally.
I really like her.
Cool. Are we ready to jump into spoilers?
Yeah.
Yes. I know we had one asking about our favorite characters, so let's ask that. But spoilers ahead. Leave if you don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah, I haven't read Renegades. Bye. But you should read Renegades because it's so freaking good.
So good.
Do the audio.
Okay, do we want to start with Kaz and go down the line?
Yeah, sure.
Ooh. Okay. I'm going to say 2, just because, like, to differentiate between the main characters in terms of point of view, which one was my favorite? I'd say Nova, just because I had a lot more fun in her perspective. But one of my other favorite characters was Max. I thought he was a precious little bean. And I think I'm always really intrigued by characters that do have an element of mystery around them. So, like, with his power in particular, and you kind of don't know what's going on there. So I was just, like, really intrigued by his character from the get-go. And he's just like a sweet little munchkin, and I wanted him.
Yeah. Me? I think.
Yep.
If I have to go off the 2 perspectives like you did, Kaz, I would definitely say that reading Nova's perspective was way more entertaining as well. I don't know, I really liked all the characters. Like, I don't have one I'm like, however, one that when I think about it that I immediately thought of that I was drawn to, and it's kind of like odd, but I'm like, I really like her, was the Red Assassin. I really liked that she could like crystallize like weapons, and like, I always am drawn to badass, like kind of bitchy women characters. Like, that's just my thing. So I really, she was that one, right? Like, she was kind of like the like,
are you thinking
there's Frostbite?
Frostbite might be the one. Because the Red Assassin was part of the crew with Sketch and Nova.
I'm reading the little names because I need a recap. I think it was Red Assassin. And then was the other one, I guess maybe was it the butterfly one maybe? No,
not in it that much. You're thinking of Frostbite, I think. Frostbite is the one who, like, I feel like in the second book we're gonna get some like intense shit going down in the Renegades.
Yeah.
You know
Wait,
what,
that's so cool that there's a cast of characters. More books need to do this.
Yeah, you
I
didn't
know.
know that.
Yes.
No, I listened to the audiobook. Oh
right.
my god,
Yeah,
it's
I
so
didn't
cool.
know
That's what I was like researching. I'm like, wait, which
Oh, I
one?
love. Oh my goodness.
I actually think it was Red Assassin I'm thinking of, though. So
Okay.
I'm going to go with her. I don't really remember,
The
though.
one who made her weapons out of blood.
Yeah, I love it.
Creepy.
So
What about you, Dylan?
It's been a while, but honestly, probably okay. So I had the most fun in Nova's point of view, but I was able to understand more in Adrian's point of view because I'm actually dyslexic, which is something like I never talk about. And so when there's a lot of action, it really like confuses me because I had to really pay attention to like what I'm reading. So that's also why I don't read fantasy mostly.
Right.
So I liked Adrian's more because it seemed like there wasn't as much action in Adrian's sometimes, so I did enjoy his perspective a lot more sometimes. But as far as like my favorite character, either Nova, even though she's kind of like a shitty person, but like I really do like her still, or Adrian's dads, even though there wasn't really a lot of them, I really enjoyed them. I don't know if it was just because there was queer rep, or if it was just because I really liked them. I don't really know. But I did appreciate the representation, so I think that's maybe why I latched onto them. I think it's pretty much my favorite characters was Nova and Adrian's dads, whoever the names were.
Definitely Nova was my favorite character. I'm one of those readers that like really latches on to protagonists. There are some readers that always fall for the side characters, and I am like a true protagonist lover. So Nova was my favorite, and I really loved Adrian too. Right now I'm all about either like morally great characters or really nice guys. And I feel like Adrian is I feel like Adrian is like the boy you'd want to date in real life just because he's so kind and caring. But he does also have like a little bit of like a dark side with everything he's doing as the whatever his name is.
Oh no, wait, that's his name.
No, the other
whatever
his name is.
No.
the like superhero person.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, what is its name?
I love Adrian and I love Nova so much, but Nova's by far my favorite.
I really liked it.
The Sentinel.
The Sentinel.
Sentinel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If I had to pick between Adrian and Nova, I'm going to be the only one who says Adrian because I found okay, this is me being nitpicky because overall I really loved both of them, but if I had to pick, I kind of found both of them annoying at the same time. And for different reasons. And I found Nova way more annoying because it's one of those things where like you're watching it from a third person perspective and you're like, your frustrations and decisions you're making are not problems. You're making them problems. Like she would be a renegade if it wasn't for her like gripe with everything that has happened in her past. So, and she like doesn't have the full story either. And she's being too protective over Ace, and like all this stuff. So I'm just like, you're annoying me. But I also liked Adrian because he's just so nice, and his relationship with Max, who is also one of my favorites.
I want to marry him.
That was just my favorite thing. Adrian, yes, exactly. It is the boy you want to marry. Like you both, yeah, it is. And he was cute and adorable with his relationship with Max, and I just loved it.
Very cute.
So I have a question for you guys. I want to know. Since we're like talking a lot about Nova and Adrian, what did you guys think about the romance?
I liked that it was not that fast.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Even though I kind of hate Nova for taking him, I'm glad that I was happy to see a book that wasn't just based on romance. Like there's obviously like little sprinkles of it throughout the book, but I'm glad like it wasn't like from chapter 5 they were making out or something. I don't know. I was glad it wasn't like fully like romance based. It was more of like their journeys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And especially with Nova as well, because she's kind of in a position where she, well, like, obviously she knows she's infiltrating the Renegades. So she's kind of in, like from the opposite side. She's like her Adrian's enemy. So she, like, you definitely got to see more of a struggle with her kind of coming to terms with these feelings that she's developing, which were, again, still really slow. So it was really nice to see, like, a nice progression and her being like, oh, like at the end when he was like, asking about, she was like, is this a date? And he was like, she was like,
so cute.
like,
I really loved that he wasn't confident. Like, I loved getting to see like, a real human.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then he was basically like, would you say yes if I'd asked you out? And in her head, she was like, no, but maybe.
Yeah, I thought the romance was so sweet because, like you said, like it was super slow burn. Like, I think it has to be one of my favorite setups to what I think is going to be a really great romance in book 2, because it was so drawn out to the point where, like, this isn't like a romance sci-fi novel whatsoever. No. It's like really like carefully and considerably woven into the story, and all of the moments we have of them are like so sweet. Like, one of the things that stands out to me is like when he like brought her sandwiches because she was on watch, and they're so cute. They're just so cute together. I love it. I fully support the development of a relationship between the two of them.
And it's also not to say that it was a surprise either, because from the moment that they meet, you're like, oh, love interest. But I loved getting to watch my assumptions not happen, because the second that he meets her, I was like, so he has magic powers, which means he's a part of this book, because we haven't gotten his point of view yet, right? And I didn't know enough to know that he was going to be the other character. And so it was nice to like assume that it was going to be an instant romance and to not get it. I was like, oh, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. I liked that they were real. And I also liked, I also liked that like their opinions of each other were very different from each other. Like Adrian, from the moment he sees her, is like, oh my God, it's the girl. And he has an immediate attraction to her. And then Nova is like, he's a renegade. I like that dichotomy too. What were you going to say, Dylan?
This may be like totally too far in the future, but this is a duology, correct? Right?
Yeah. I think so, yeah. Oh my God, I wish it was more.
Me too. So like I'm happy that it's so condensed and it's not going to be like a 20-book series and just go on forever. But I'm also really nervous it being just a duology, because there's so much stuff that's going to have to happen in the second book to wrap it up. And also on top of that, their romance is obviously going to flourish, and him finding out that Nova is not who she says she is. So like I'm a little bit nervous of like how I'm nervous how they're going to put it all in the book, because I mean, I don't think she's going to make it longer than Renegades because it's already the Bible basically. But I don't know. I'm just, I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous to see how it's going to go in the second book. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel the same about that. Like, that is a lot to put into the next book. I don't know. It could be, are we sure it's a duology, or is this supposed, I'm pretty sure it is, though.
I would be so happy if she turned it into a trilogy at the last moment.
Me
oh
too.
my God.
But like, if it turns into a trilogy, I would be nervous for a second book syndrome problem, because I haven't read any of her series. I didn't read any of the Luna Chronicles, so I don't know like how she handles
that definitely
sequels,
has second book syndrome.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I would be nervous because like this book is set up for a big finale. Like, I mean, it has set it up so well that if they have to wait to fix things, then it feels like it'll be a lot of like.
Yeah, because I have a feeling if they did make it a 3-book series, like obviously most of the action would be in that third one. So I think the second one would be very much, a lot of the romance would fill that, and I don't know how I feel about too much of it all in one go. Like especially
I'm
in
all
comparison
here
to having
for it.
a
Okay.
the romance, but I'm worried that it might feel like the plot was dragging and there'd be too much of an emphasis on the romance, especially in comparison.
Yeah, and especially because she did it so well in this first one.
I have to say, like, oh no, continue.
No,
Go
no,
for
no.
your
I was gonna change the subject. So
I just wanted to
Go
say,
ahead.
like, how Dylan was like, how in book 2, like, Adrian still has to find out who Nova was. I was really surprised that didn't happen at the end of this book. Like,
Me
I was
too.
like
I was a little
waiting
pissed.
and waiting
Yeah.
and waiting, and like there was so much suspense. Like, I was driving a lot when I finished it that day, so I was listening to a lot of it at once, and I was just like dying, waiting for it to happen,
Yes.
and it didn't happen.
Like I thought for sure Ingrid would tell him.
I thought it was a really
Yeah.
unexpected
Yeah.
choice.
Because I was
think it
Yeah.
expecting,
That was
like, when he mentioned Nightmare, or when he was like, oh, Nova's inside, I was expecting her to be like, well, if I killed the Nightmare, then you won't be finding Nova, because dun dun dun,
Yeah.
it's the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even like in the scene when they're running away from like when she's with the anarchists at the train station thing, or like the underground thing that they're at, and they're trying to escape and whatever, and the Renegades are there. Even though Adrian's not there, I like thought that maybe that would be when somebody would find out that Nova was a part of the anarchists.
Right. And what,
But
like,
it
I
just
had,
never
I wanted
happened.
to, I really,
Oh, what was that?
oh God.
I think Katrina moved something.
Oh, that was loud. I really wanted to bring this up, though, something before we get too far, because Cassie mentioned it earlier, and it kind of goes into this too. But what were your thoughts being that third perspective? I know, Cassie, you already talked about this, but that third perspective of knowing, like, I kind of had feelings of being like, Nova, you're wrong in your perspective. Like, you don't see it in a different light. And I've never experienced that before, where I was like kind of frustrated with her in the aspect when I'm like you said, Cassie, like, exactly, like, you're like actually really meant to be a renegade in what they believe in, but I kind of understand what you're saying too, but it was frustrating. Like, what did you guys feel about? Did you guys get those feelings too? I know Cassie obviously did, but I wanted to expand on that.
I don't think I felt it quite like you did, because I thought it, the way I interpreted it was kind of blurring those lines between what is considered good and evil in this world. So there was more of a mix there, and then the good isn't wholly good and the evil isn't wholly evil. Because to each of their stories, they think they are the good person, and the other person is like acting in ways that is kind of to the detriment of society.
Yeah,
I
I agree with that too. I totally agree with that too. Like, I also felt like that, and I liked it, but like, and I actually really enjoyed that she did that with the book, like, where you're like, oh, because I had those feelings, but I was like, where do I go? What do I believe? And I actually really enjoyed that part of the book. But did you guys like feel like that kind of like, feeling the whole time?
I don't think I was frustrated, but I also was really interested by how it sort of blended the lines between good and evil, because I was reading it and I was like, why am I agreeing with anarchists? Like, this is traditionally viewed as something that is like not positive, but I can see their perspective. And I really like how it sort of challenged me to like think differently about these moral questions that, like, you know, previously, like, it may have been so easy for me to be like, of course, like, you know, we need some law enforcement, but then the Renegades aren't necessarily doing everything to the best of their abilities. Like, I can sort of relate to both of them. So I found it more intriguing because it was really, really thought-provoking. Like, I really liked seeing so many different perspectives on, you know, what is good, what is the best for these people.
Right. And I want to just like say something on that. Like, I don't think like I'm kind of putting it off a way that I'm not meaning. So like, I don't think I wasn't frustrated at it. And I like the way you put it. What I was trying to say was what you said. And what you said was it challenged you in that aspect and like intrigued. And that's kind of the words I was looking for rather than frustrated. Like, it didn't annoy me. I actually enjoyed it. And the way you said it was perfect. Like that.
Yeah, I think Renegades is really unique, and I think part of that, you know, like we talked about how like it's not like your typical YA romance, and I think the world, like, this is the first book I've ever read that actually deals with the concept of anarchy, which I also thought was really interesting. But with all of like
Before
these
the devil
moral...
breaks you.
Oh shit, it does. Okay, well, the second book.
Just finished it, so.
Oh, so good.
I
So the
said
second
before
book.
the devil breaks you.
Yes. So the second book I read that deals with anarchy. But like, you know, despite all the fact that we have all of these like dystopian worlds, like that's not something that's ever really addressed. And with the way that it like causes you to sort of empathize with the anarchists who would be labeled as the evil people. I think it's just really unique in that way.
I think that I also agree. Like, it was entertaining, and I think that she did something really interesting with this concept. I think that what got me the most, like, frustrated is too intense of a word, but that's the only word that makes a little bit of sense, is that the anarchists are still, like, murdering people.
Yeah.
And so I had a hard time being able to still, like, even though there were small parts of the anarchists' views that I was like, yeah, I can see what you're saying, I also was like, but you're also murdering people.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like, merp. And then obviously as the book goes on, we get more and more of the corruption of the renegades, which is what I'm the most interested in, is like, I want to see them delve into that corruption and working on fixing that stuff. But the fact that the renegades were corrupted didn't make me like the anarchists and their views on what it means, because I just found their opinions unrealistic. Like, what they want is nobody in charge. That doesn't make any sense. I get not wanting the renegades in charge because they know that the renegades are fucked up, but that doesn't mean nobody should be. That seems like a little bit of a slippery slope. So that was I was just like, eh. So it was almost still too one-sided for me.
Yeah.
Dylan?
I don't know, because for a lot of the book, I was like, am I on the anarchist side or am I on the renegade side? Because I like to see myself as a good person, but I was still kind of leaning more on the anarchist side because I don't know, like I saw flaws in both the societies, I guess. I think what would help me make up my mind more, or maybe just confuse me more, who knows? I would like to see, you guys can say if you want this too, but I would maybe like to see either novellas or like separate books, kind of like an Every Heart or Doorway situation.
Listen, I would die for anything related to
I
Renegades.
want prequels.
Yes. I want prequels. I want spin-off books of like everyone else. I want people from like other sides of the world. I'd like to see people like the superhero people from the other side of the world.
Yeah.
So I think that might help me kind of make a concrete decision on whose side I'm on, but I don't think I ever will be able to, because I'm switching all the time. I wish we would have something else besides just those two perspectives to like see more of it, so that way I can make my own mind up easier.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, there were definitely times where I was leaning more on the anarchist side, because like when they were talking about how like Ace Anarchy's vision was to free prodigies, is that what they're called? Like, he wanted to free them from the oppression that they were experiencing. So I can understand why, like, in that time, that was the ideal to just completely dismantle everything. And then when, you know, when Nova is making all the points about how the renegades are like, you know, like, think first, act later, and then nothing's getting done because of their protocol and whatnot. Like, I think it just creates so many interesting conversations about like what really is good and what is best for these people. I love it so much.
Yeah. And I think in particular with Nova, because obviously being part of the Renegade, she's seeing how things work and like her ideas are being challenged. But I also thought it was interesting because like with the reveal at the end with Ace still being alive, it also makes sense that she's not being totally challenged to the point of like her view, like things changing, because she still has that kind of role model in her life there that she follows and like who raised her.
And also,
can we just talk about the ending?
What?
Cassie, go.
Go, Cal.
Wait, I missed it. What did you say?
No, I said, can we talk about the ending? But you go first, and then we'll delve into it.
I was gonna say, I also want to talk about the reveal that they're working on trying to get rid of the superpowers.
Oh my god!
I don't like that.
That was the big moment for me. I was like, there it is. There's the plot for next book.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like,
there it is.
I am not into it. I do not want these superpowers to go away. This is what makes it look interesting. If it turns into like contemporary all of a sudden, I'm going to be mad. Just saying.
I don't think it will.
It's for sure becoming a dystopian because this feels it feels very Darkest Minds to me. Like,
but
I mean, except that Darkest Minds couldn't get rid of the superpowers. But it feels like, it feels like turning. They're creating the power dynamic where like only the people in charge will have the superpowers, right? That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds scary.
I also think it's kind of interesting because I think she also. I think she also laid a bit of a breadcrumb because you know how Nova had that spiel being like society would be better if there were no prodigies type thing. She had that bit, and then that was revealed, and it was like obviously that's not what she was talking about, like them abusing their power and removing people's abilities just because they don't agree with them and they have different views, which is so very wrong. But I think that's really interesting.
That I forgot about that moment, and it makes me wonder if that is foreshadowing of what is going to fix it. Like, are they going to get rid of all the superheroes, all the superpowers in order to fix the problems? Is that what's going to happen? I don't know.
I'd be so upset.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't think that could be.
That
I
is
don't think
such
that's
a
going to be a
grand scale.
permanent ending. Yeah,
because that would be so
like,
hard
what
to
if
implement.
they douse the water?
Yeah. I agree.
What if they douse the water? Okay, we have 2 people asked us about what we thought about the backstories, specifically of Oscar and Ruby, and that whole scene in the stakeout.
Can y'all remind me what their backstories were? Because I read this book so long ago.
Okay.
Well, not so long ago. I've read so many books since Renegades.
Because it was
Oscar
about how people
almost
got their
died.
powers.
Yeah. Oscar almost died in a burning building, and so then he breathed in all the smoke.
Yeah.
And then Ruby had a bunch of rubies in the house, and somebody tried to come and steal them, and she swallowed them to save them. And then they stabbed her, and then she bled and could create stuff. Yeah. And then Nova was born with her ability to make people sleep, but it didn't. She started being able to live without sleeping herself when all of her family died.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting because I kind of because we get the perspectives of Adrian and Nova who were born with their gifts. I actually didn't realize that like getting powers was something that would happen from being killed or like coming back.
When we were
so I thought that was
when we get Oscar, I thought he was making shit up. Like I thought he was just telling a story.
And then I was getting confused about Nova and Adrian because I was like, what happened to them? Like, they didn't. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting how there's some people that are born with it, some that have to die to get a power.
Yeah. That when Oscar tells the story, I thought he was like making up a comic book story, like because he frames it like that. And so I was like, oh, so this is just made up. But then Ruby tells hers, and I was like, wait, what? Wait. What's happening?
Right.
Are these real or not? And then it took Nova explaining that hers were 1 and 1 to realize that they were all telling the truth. I was like, I get it now.
Right.
Sort of.
And was it Ruby who jumped off the top of the building and landed through the mirror? She's the one that does that, right?
Yeah.
Was she the one with the mirrors? And then that's
the
Nasixa. That's the librarian's niece.
Oh right, okay. I'm thinking of that scene because I'm like, wait, who's Ruby again? Is that? Oh no,
Ruby
that's
the
light
blood.
Yeah,
the red assassin.
My favorite. I forgot. I'm gonna go back to my guide here while we're talking about.
I just put the most random idea ever. So since I'm thinking of more books in the world because I'm trash, I want more. I was thinking, what if there's like a murder mystery that took place in this world?
Oh,
I would be so into that. That would, and it was like
detective stories here.
Yeah, and it was like
Marissa Meyer, get on that.
Yeah, fan fiction or something. If that doesn't happen, I want fan fiction.
Yes.
Anyways.
Somebody else asked.
Ending?
Let's do that.
Oh, God.
Can I just say one thing really quickly because it's really quick?
Yes.
With the ending, I seen that coming halfway through, and I was
really?
not. Yeah, like I was like, I seen it. I just wanted to say.
I totally saw it.
I was
Yeah, I
shook.
Which that Ingrid was going to actually try to kill Nova. Of course that was going to happen.
Well, I saw
shocked.
Ace coming because I was like,
Oh, that.
I don't know. I just
Yeah.
had like like I knew, I just kind of had this feeling it was going to happen. And then I know Dylan was like, oh my God, the ending. And then I started getting my mind like something crazy is going to happen. So then automatically I was like, I bet you, maybe if Dylan didn't say something like that, I would.
I'm sorry. I was
No,
the
it's
first one to
okay.
finish it. Had no way to talk to you about it.
No,
Yeah.
it's okay. But I wanted to say something on this, and now it completely slipped my mind. But I wasn't like at the end because I kind of already knew. But that's all I wanted to say because I know you guys are gonna freak out.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well,
I'm not one to. Go, Cassie.
Oh, I was just gonna say the same reason that the reason that I also wasn't that surprised that Ace was alive was one, because there was like a good chunk of the first part of the book that we weren't sure if he was alive or dead. Like it was never actually said.
Confirmed.
And so I was just like, is he somewhere or is he not somewhere? What's happening? And then finally we like find out he's dead, and I was like, well, he keeps getting talked about, so obviously he's gonna need to come back.
Yeah.
So that was all. That was why I wasn't that surprised. But
I was so
what were you
shocked.
gonna say, Emma?
I was just so shocked. I'm not the type of person where like I don't actively look for things that are gonna happen. Like sometimes like I will make connections, but it just like completely caught me off guard. And the first time I listened to the ending, I didn't actually think he was alive. I thought that it was like a sort of like a vision-y sort of thing. And then I was like, wow, that's like a really anticlimactic way to end the book. And then I was like, hold on, maybe I didn't read this right. And then I reversed it, and I am like screaming, hitting my steering wheel. I was blown away.
You know what's so
I
funny,
loved
Emma?
Mhm.
Emma, it's so funny. Patricia Pages just said, when I first read the ending, I thought she was remembering something.
Ah,
Well, that's the thing, 'cause it is set up like that when the doors are whatever
Oh no,
in the
Oh, no.
past.
I can't hear you.
Kaz,
Oh,
you're cutting
wait.
out, girl.
Repeat yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
You're good now.
Yeah.
Okay. That last scene with the reveal, it is like it does start with her remembering something in the past as the room becomes unveiled. Like she's like, oh yeah, back
Yeah.
whenever Ace blah blah blah. So it like starts out with her remembering something, but then it was jumped in. So that's like it's easy to get that.
So
Words.
do I remember? I'm not remembering this. Did she know that Ace was alive, or was it a surprise to her?
Yeah.
It was a
She knew.
surprise.
She knew.
Did
It
she?
was.
Yeah, I just looked at it, and she's talking into the chamber, which makes me think. I just looked at it to see because I was curious. Yeah, I think that he was.
But
Or
that's the
maybe
thing,
not,
like-
because it says with some irony, so I'm not actually
But-
sure.
I'm confused because she intentionally went back there and was talking about like that she specifically went there to say the helmet is destroyed, and she says it there where he could hear
I don't
her.
know.
So that's why I thought that she knew.
Because
Oh, I
we
never
were
even
in
thought
her
about
head.
Ambiguity.
She doesn't say it in her head.
We were in her head the entire book. You would have thought that it would have been mentioned. I mean, I guess it's because they want a shock
That's
ending.
probably a device.
but it was
Yeah.
just-
I really don't
But it was
know.
like- it was
I
also-
don't know.
I feel
I
like she
don't
talked
know.
about Ace in the past tense, but like I don't think so. I don't think that she's the one that reveals that Ace is dead. I think that Adrian's perspective is the one that finally says Ace was killed, and
Yeah,
it's
because
when
you're
he's
saying
talking
that
about their big
Dixon, like,
fight.
yeah.
So it makes sense if I remember
Mm.
it correctly that
Okay.
Nova just doesn't ever think about the fact that Ace is around because it's not like she's
Yeah.
seeing him all the time.
Because that would be a
Also,
lot
keep
more
in-
shocking to me because I didn't know that she actually knew. Proud Book Line just
Yeah.
said she knew. Like for me, I just thought she was shocked too. It was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
you're
No,
alive.
I don't think she was shocked. I think it was probably just a device for the story to like have this big
Yeah.
reveal at the
Yeah.
end that she
I
doesn't
like
specify
that
anything.
way better. I like that way
Mhm.
better.
Yeah,
No?
that
Also,
makes it
keep
way
in-
better.
I don't know, because I was sick when I was reading it, so I don't know if I was healthy, if I would have been as surprised, because I was like so delirious. I was like on drugs, not like painkillers and stuff.
Not hardcore
So
drugs.
I was, yeah. So I was even surprised, like when they had like the romance scene or whatever, I was like, oh my God, even though I knew it was going to happen, but I was like so drugged up. I was like, oh my God, I never saw this coming, even though I obviously did before I was under the influence or whatever. So like the ending, I was like the most shook, but I was also like about to fall asleep. So it's probably why I was cry.
I like that so much now. Now I'm like feeling a little bit like, oh my God, that's so good.
Yeah,
someone said in the comments, I think that's why she wanted to get the helmet. She was bringing it back to Ace. I think that does make more sense for her interest in the helmet to be to actually return it to Ace. Because I kind of speculated that if she got the helmet, maybe there was a way to like bring him back sort of with the helmet. But I think it does make more sense that she knew, and just Marissa Meyer just completely flipped us upside down.
Now I'm excited because I'm going to have to reread it before the next one comes out. I'm excited to reread it and like look for the signs that she knew.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
The way a good reread for sure.
Yeah,
I read so many good books this year, and all I want to do is to read all of them.
Yeah, Emma, you're killing it this year. Amazing.
I've read 40 books so far, so.
Oh my
God! What?
And I also
That's
read
like
full-time,
my
which is
goal for the
crazy.
year.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow, Dylan.
My whole goal for the year is 52. So like.
My goal for the year is like 19. That's
I don't know how
That's so good.
I mean, I work at a library, and so I'm there 5 days a week. So I also get to listen to audiobooks and on 2 times speed. So that's probably most of the reason why.
Yeah.
And contemporary does not exactly take the most brain power. So.
Yeah. True. Yeah, fantasy.
Can we talk about the diversity?
Sorry, go ahead, Dylan.
The diversity.
Oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that
especially
we have
with such a large cast. Like, it better be there when there's a large cast. There's no excuse.
Yeah,
I love that. We have a half Filipina main character, which I don't think I've ever seen. I think there's like one contemporary
Adrian
book,
Black,
but like fantasy never.
Yeah,
he's described as being brown skinned, I think. So I don't think like an ethnicity is ever disclosed, but he's described as having brown skin. So like super nice to see an interracial relationship that's not someone who's like white and black. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that's so
I'm
awesome.
all for interracial relationships. So I was very excited.
So good. Also, Oscar's the one in the wheelchair, right?
Yes. Well, he's a cane.
Yeah, wheelchair.
Cane. Yeah.
And like,
but he's the one who has trouble walking.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and also, can we talk about the guy that's locked in the room?
Max.
Max.
Oh, that was Max.
Yeah.
And like that scene where I thought, like, I don't know, I found that fascinating. When he's like floating, and then she like goes in and scares him and like falls down.
Also,
that was
kind of related though. The fact that Max absorbed a lot of Ace's power makes me curious, because at the end, Ace is floating. So was he so powerful that even having Max take some of his power doesn't make much of a difference, or are they able to regenerate over time?
This makes me think that Max isn't. I feel like they are more scared of Max than they need to be. Like, I feel like he could learn to control his powers if they let him. And I also feel like no one seems to know if he can, like, permanently destroy power. But, like, going back to the whole thing about, going back to the whole thing of, like, what they're trying to develop with getting rid of superpowers, I feel like it's going to backfire, even if they actually get to try it. Like, I feel like it'll be a temporary problem. And then everyone will come back with their powers, and then they'll be like, "Oh no, we fucked up really bad."
And now they can get us.
And all these people really mad. Yeah, exactly.
I know that
somebody asked us. Go ahead, Brittany.
Oh, I was just going to say the same thing. Someone was asking us if we had to pick a superpower, which one
would we? That's what I wanted to say.
I hate this question because I never know my answer.
And if whatever power we had, would we choose to be a renegade?
Well, I would pick, I'll go first while you think about it, to turn invincible, the Dread Warden, Simon Westward, because that's typical, but hells yeah, I want to be invincible. And then would I Yeah, I'd audition to be a renegade. Hell yeah. That's my answer. And blood weapons.
It's hard to... Yeah. It's so hard. I always have trouble with this question, but I just want to say I really liked the superpowers in this book weren't just your typical one, like invisibility and like elasticity,
especially
or whatever.
Adrian.
Like it was so different. Yeah, Adrian's was such a creative gift. I loved it. As for my own, just going off the gifts that were in this book, just so I can restrict myself a little bit, I really liked Monarch's ability, because you could just kind of like, that's kind of similar to invisibility, but you could also travel easier.
And it made me think of Strange the Dreamer.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I thought when I saw it. The rye.
I would.
The rye.
Oh, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. I would say invisibility, just so I could be like Kenji from Shatter Me. Yeah, I have. Oh, he's my favorite. Anyways, I think I'd just choose invisibility because I don't know. I could stay in like a Barnes and Noble overnight. Like, that's what I would
love that. That's how you'd use your power. That is amazing.
Yeah, or like I could just like stay at work overnight and not have to. Actually, I don't know if I won't be at work overnight. I'd go somewhere else, but. Yeah, I think I would like to have invisibility. I would not want to have a mind reading because I have freaking legit OCD. Like I would obsess over people's like thoughts. That would not be good. So not mind reading.
I would be like bad enough. Like imagine everyone else's. Jeez.
Yeah.
I always say invisibility. I always say invisibility, but I'm not happy with that answer. I feel like having like telekinesis would also be really cool. Like I feel like it's a very, very useful power. You know, like if you're in the middle of a battle and like you could literally just like throw one enemy against another and knock them both out. You know what I mean? So I feel like telekinesis would be really, really useless. And then like I also like I wouldn't have to go to the kitchen to get food. Like that would be like a really nice perk.
That's always my thought. I'm like I could just
get
lay on the couch.
Oh my god.
Yes. I see. What would you say?
If I had to pick, if I was picking for in general, I usually say I want to be able to fly. But if I was picking from these new powers that we didn't know could ever exist because I've never seen a lot of them, then I'd for sure pick Adrian's because I think it's so cute and cool, and also like you could just create it. Like you don't need to get up to go to the kitchen for that either because you can just draw yourself a cupcake.
So you're pretty much your own personal 3D printer.
Yes, it's amazing.
Pretty much.
And also, I just thought it was hilarious when he's talking about his childhood and how even though they were just scribbles, it's all about his like what his mind was thinking they were. So they were just scribbles of dinosaurs that actually tried to chomp your toes. I thought that was so cute.
Yeah.
You would never be single again if you had his power, because you could literally like draw yourself the perfect boyfriend. Like, what?
You could draw one with no mouth so that they would never speak.
I feel like it also
that's true.
Power, like not the killing part because I have no desire. Not the putting to sleep part because I have like no desire to put people to sleep. But like if I never had to sleep, I would be so happy because all I think all day is that there's not enough hours in the day. Like if I like never got tired Edward Cullen style, I'd be so happy.
Like you could have,
and then if
8 hours
you got annoyed at someone, just be like, and then they're passed out, and you don't have to deal with them anymore.
That's very true.
True.
I regularly tell Matt I wish he had a snooze button. So.
That's so funny. The one thing I would not be is tsunami because that's like my worst fear.
Oh my god!
But you would have total control over it.
I know, but that still freaks me out, man.
Seriously, imagine though if we meet any prodigies that actually have a phobia, like relating to their gift.
Oh my gosh, that would be wild.
Like imagine if Nightmare, if Nova was afraid of the dark, because he's awake throughout the entire night. I'm afraid of the dark, I'm not into it.
But then can't that phobia guy put her in the dark if she was scared of the dark? Isn't that a guy?
Yeah.
Like phobia?
Yeah, phobia can become anyone else's fears.
That's so creepy.
Man,
Creepy.
that's terrifying. He freaks me out. I was not a fan. I was like, can you leave?
Someone
Okay,
asked.
bye.
Someone asked if the world of the Renegades would be one we want to live in or visit, or not at all. I would like to. I'm going to hold my answer until the end of the second one and see how the world is then. And so if it's like a good place to live, and then I'll live there. But for now, I'll stay here, but have the superpowers. Like, I like to have the powers, just not go in that world for right now.
I would go if it was like a Disneyland visit, because like you're going
and you
to
could
see
have a temporary power.
And then you get like a temporary pass, and you're like, hey, check out all the heroes, and then like see everyone flying around and going invisible and shit, and then you can leave. That's what I do.
I always get sad by this question because, like, is the assumption that you're going as yourself? Because I don't want to be a human in a world where there are people with special abilities.
Exactly.
That sounds very boring.
Like, if I said yes, there would be a lot of...
go to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
If
I said yes, it'd have to be a lot of conditions. For example, I'd need to specify what my power was and what my role was, where I lived, like all that kind of thing. So,
under the certain conditions, yes.
True. Was there anything else that we wanted to chat? I feel like so much happened in this book, and it was just so much fun. Oh, what was your favorite
scenes?
Yeah, so I was just gonna say your favorite scenes. I really loved the one where they're in the library and all that action is happening and things are blowing up, and like it was just crazy, that scene. It was like midway through the book. I loved that. Was probably my favorite that I can think of.
My favorite scenes were the ones when there wasn't a lot of action. So I like the character development scenes. So I really liked when they were giving all their backstories. That's why I want more like prequels, because I love to see like inside of their minds and like just have like a whole book or like novella and just like in their character growth. I think it's probably my favorite scene was like the library when they were given all their backstories. I also really like when Nova was with the vigilantes, or the whatever they're called. I forget what they're called.
Anarchists.
Yeah. I really liked when she was interacting with them, because I thought it was like just like something new we've never really seen before. So I really enjoyed that whole perspective.
For actiony scenes, my favorite was definitely the ending where they're the whole setup with Ingrid and Nova and Adrian trying to find Nightmare, and they're like in the fun house, and then they're like trying to kill each other. I loved it. It was so good. But my favorite like character-based scene was definitely like the date between Nova and Adrian, when they're like at the birthday party and all of the kids are like fawning over both of them, and Adrian is like drawing everything these kids could want. I loved it so much.
That's why I love Adrian, is that scene.
My baby.
That's definitely my favorite. That's my favorite character development scene for sure. It just watching him with all the little kids, I was like, I want to marry you. You're cute. And then my favorite action scene was the one when Nova is doing her audition or whatever with against what? I don't even remember the guy's name.
The gargoyle.
Yeah, the gargoyle. I loved that scene. And the scene right before that with Gargoyle, too, when Frostbite and Gargoyle go to wherever the, like, underground train place is that everyone is staying. I like that a lot, too.
They're also good. Kaz?
But, yeah.
It's so hard.
They were seriously all so good. So good.
Yeah, there was so many.
Because I think it really was a great balance between all of the action-packed scenes and all of the character-driven bits.
Okay, like, do we have any questions? Anything else you guys
somebody said, can we talk about how phobia might have killed Adrian's mom? Did you guys see that coming? Because I did not see that coming.
Nuh-uh.
And then someone's like,
the
someone else
that he
saying,
says it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying in the comments, else killed Adrian's mom to put her to sleep. That would be interesting as well, but
oh god, I don't know. I feel like somebody did say it, and I feel like Nova's too young. But
yeah,
I was gonna say the second that he Phobia says the same quote that we've like been hearing over and over again, right? So once he said it, I was like, oh, of course, it's about fear. That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
but I was just so
I did not
blown.
see that coming.
My mind was reeling. It was so good. I think that was my favorite reveal. Like out of all the things that happened, that was like surprising and twisty. That was the twist that I was like, oh shit.
Who did I talk to? Luckily, we're reading it together.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, there's so much that happened. I'm trying to think of anything else.
It's such a big book.
Like, what did you guys think of like the intro scene? Like when it first went down, like it caught my attention so quickly.
I mean, at the parade when Nova tries to.
No, the murder of her family.
The murder of yeah, that was a really tough scene.
I was sobbing.
Really, really tough.
And I was at work on my break.
At the beginning?
And I was, yeah.
Oh,
it was hard.
Right off the bat.
I was thinking, I'm so confused. I'm like, I wasn't that sad about her trying to kill the.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first too.
Yeah, no.
And then I realized there was a scene before
prequel.
that. I was like,
yes.
Yeah.
I was in
when she's little.
Yeah, I was at work in the break room, and I was like in the back corner, just like sobbing my eyes out. Everyone's and then like a bunch of old rooms.
I think I blocked it out of my memory.
Yeah, it was. And they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
How like she's just like waiting for the Renegades, and they just like don't come.
It was so sad. I for sure cried too. I think I was driving to school. No, it wouldn't have been to school. I don't know where I was driving to, but I was on a drive somewhere. And I'm just like sobbing, driving. Like,
and it's like the first chapter.
I can't see the road. Yeah, and it was right away. I'm like, are you kidding? I don't even know who these people are.
Where is this going? Any other questions?
I want to talk about Frostbite and her crew. Just like, where are we going with these people? Like, I kind of want us to speculate on what they mean, or are they gonna be any more important in the next book, or do you think that they are just products of the bigger problem?
Well, they're not even in the list of characters here.
Yeah.
So they're irrelevant.
Man, they were so interesting. I kind of do wish that they were in it more. I think it's like a catch-22 though, because I feel like it's possible that if they were in it more, then it would have felt more immature.
Yeah.
Because they're not important in the hierarchy of things.
Right.
But also I liked the dichotomy between that group and Adrian's group even. Like, it's very obvious from the moment Nova steps into the Renegades headquarters that people have issues with that group.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like that's an interesting thing.
It'd be interesting because I kind of agree on your what you said about like if they had been in it more, it might have felt childish, because I feel like they're not like super fleshed out, because they are kind of seen as like really villainous in like as renegades. They're kind of like the dickheads of them all. But then again, if we did have more time with them, they probably would have been exactly. But they could have been more fleshed out if we did spend more time with them. So who knows? We might see more in the second book.
I know. I kind of want to get more of like, why is that group, like, who made that group? Who started it?
Yeah, and like, why are they just
they start on?
This is why we need prequels.
They're pretty fascinating. Like, I think that calls more even to the way that Marissa Meyer wrote all of this, like, not good and not bad, like all these gray parts, because they're on the good side, but there's this whole team that's like really awful and doesn't play by the rules that are set up for them even. And I don't know, they're pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I wish Frostbite was like it more, also because I loved her power.
Yeah. Have any last minute questions?
I can't think of anything.
Last minute thoughts.
Well, we usually end on like, are you going to read the next book and continue
Hell
on?
yeah.
Everyone
Yes,
is.
yes. Like,
I was just
just
Renegades right now.
I know. I was just looking on Goodreads to see if it's a duology and like what's out, and then someone asked, "Is this a duology?" And someone said yes. So I don't know if that's legit, but it looks like it's going to be.
Did Renegades have arcs? I don't remember if Renegades had them. I don't think so.
I think maybe potentially.
Oh yeah, they
possibly,
did.
'cause I see a lot of
We
people.
in Australia
I see a
there were
lot of
definitely
people-
arcs.
Okay, because I'm gonna get my hands on one. I don't care what I have to do.
They're they're like unicorns, just so you know.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the
I'll get my
Australian
hands on
one
it.
looked like the Children of Blood and Bone, like in this kind of color.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure that was the case. Because I remember
Have you
seeing
read
them
that
being like,
one?
"I want one." No, this is like one of my next reads.
I've heard it's
Also-
good. I want to read it.
Kaz, how
I'm ready.
stiff is
I'm
the
starting it when
paperback?
I go eat dinner after this.
When are you starting?
Children of Blood and
How-
Bone.
So we're
Kaz,
going.
how floppy is the Renegades paperback? Like, is it super stiff?
Oh,
Because like
no.
the UK. Okay,
Ooh.
because I've been thinking about getting that, but usually
It's
a
really
lot of times
floppy.
UK paperbacks are pretty like stiff. So
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of the times they are, but these ones, this is Pan Macmillan, isn't it? Yeah, they're both Pan Macmillan.
Okay.
So they seem to do pretty floppy, which is good. So
okay, cool. Just
I love a floppy paperback.
Yeah.
Is the paperback the same cover?
Yeah, I think so.
If it was a full
nice.
color, I
Yeah.
would order it right now.
Mhm.
I wonder if when Renegades comes out in paperback here, will it be a floppy one?
better
Who
be.
knows?
I feel like it's big enough. It better be floppy. There is no excuse.
Good thing
Yeah,
Scholastic
that size you
doesn't
can.
publish it.
I know. Scholastic is usually pretty tough.
Ugh. Okay.
So our next book that we're reading is from this month, February to April, and it is The Woman in the Window. Katrina and Emma are holding them up.
I'm already halfway done,
And-
guys.
Are you liking it?
Ooh, how are you liking it so far?
I
Oh no.
it's not what I expected. It's like okay, it's good,
Okay.
but like I still can't stop reading it. So I don't know
Okay.
yet, but it's like
I've heard it's a bit
addicting to read.
boring.
But it's kind of boring, but you can't stop reading it. But you can't stop reading it.
Have
So I
you
don't
guys
the same thing.
watched? Have you guys watched Rear Window? Because it's for sure a play on of that movie.
Really?
You guys know what this is?
No.
Rear Window is like an American classic. It was made in like the 60s,
Wow.
70s.
What?
And it is one of the best thrillers you'll ever watch. Have you ever seen I don't remember what the name of it, but it's a Shia LaBeouf movie where he's like on house arrest and then he watches his neighbor and finds out that he's doing something.
Wasn't he
That
like
movie is
yeah,
also
yeah.
a play on Rear Window. Like Rear Window is the classic that all of these things are based on. So I highly recommend you find that and
I'll
watch
have to
it.
check it out.
I'll watch it after?
yeah. Yeah, like finish the book and then watch it because that movie is really good. And so I don't want you to watch it first because then the book might not be that good. But but
Awesome.
I'm excited because I love that movie, and so I've been sitting here going, "Woman in the Window, Rear Window."
So we'll probably have our live show either at the end of April or early May, and then we're done for I guess a while here, and then that's the next time you guys will see us, and then we'll have our announcement video for the summer 2018 round that will happen sometime in the summer. It depends on what we can align our schedules with, but I guess that's the next time everyone will see us will be around end April, early May.
Woohoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you guys for
Thank you.
this book with me because I love it so much.
I know, it's so good.
Goodbye.
Bye.